Series solution of Bessel's differential equation leading to Bessel's function. The Bessel differential equation of order n is of the form x square into d square y by dx square plus x into dy by dx plus x square minus n square into y equal to 0, where n is a non-negative real constant. And for solving this particular differential equation and to get the power series solution for this equation, we use Frobenius method. What is Frobenius method? I have already explained in the last video. We use Frobenius method here because this differential equation is of the form P naught of x into d square y by dx square plus P1 of x into dy by dx plus P2 of x into y equal to 0. And also here P naught of x is equal to x square, and when you calculate P naught of 0, that is when you put x value here as 0, you get P naught of 0 value as 0. That is why we can use Frobenius method to solve this particular differential equation. So in case of Frobenius method, what we do is we assume that the solution for this differential equation can be in the form y equal to summation r from 0 to infinity ar into x to the power k plus r. If you expand this summation over here, you get r is 0 here, a naught into x power k plus a1 into x power k plus 1 plus a2 into x power k plus 2 and so on. Let's call this equation over here as equation 2, and let's call the Bessel's equation as equation number 1. Now here further what we will need is we should know the values of dy by dx and d square y by dx square. So using this value of y, we calculate the values of dy by dx and d square y by dx square. So if you differentiate this with respect to x, we get summation r from 0 to infinity ar. Differentiation of x power k plus r is k plus r into x power k plus r minus 1, and d square y by dx square will be summation r from 0 to infinity ar. K plus r is a constant, x power k plus r minus 1 differentiation is k plus r minus 1 into x power k plus r minus 2. So by substituting the values of y, dy by dx and d square y by dx square in equation 1 changes to this form. So we get x square into summation r from 0 to infinity ar k plus r into k plus r minus 1 into x power k plus r minus 2 plus x into summation r from 0 to infinity ar into k plus r into x power k plus r minus 1, and the last term is plus x square minus n square into summation r from 0 to infinity ar into x power k plus r equal to 0. So when you continue here in the next step, take this x square inside the summation. So when you do that, you get x power k plus r minus 2. Taking this power inside, I get plus 2 here. So cancelling minus 2 with plus 2, the first term in the next equation will be you get summation r from 0 to infinity ar k plus r into k plus r minus 1 x power k plus r. Similarly, in the second term, take this x inside the summation. So you get summation r from 0 to infinity ar k plus r here, x power k plus r minus 1, taking this x power 1 inside, minus 1 and plus 1 will cancel, so I get x power k plus r. And in the last term, x square will be multiplied with this summation, so I get summation r from 0 to infinity ar into multiplying x square with this term of x, I get x power k plus r, with this power 2 I get k plus r plus 2, minus multiply this n square with this summation, so I get minus n square into summation r from 0 to infinity ar into x power k plus r, and the RHS is 0. So now here in the next step what we can do is we can try to write all the terms of x power k plus r together. So in the first term you have x power k plus r, here also you have x power k plus r, Similarly, in the last term, you have x power k plus r. So collecting the first, second and fourth terms together, we get summation. You can see that the common term here will be summation r from 0 to infinity ar into x power k plus r, that is present here, here and also in the last term. So taking those terms out, what will remain inside the parenthesis is k plus r, which is multiplied with k plus r minus 1. So that will be the term over here. And here the remaining term is k plus r. And here the remaining term is minus n square. Then write the third term as it is, no changes in that, and that's equal to 0. So in the next step now, in this term inside the parenthesis, k plus r is a common term in the first term and in the second term. So taking that out, I get k plus r is outside. So here what we get is k plus r minus 1, and here after taking this term out, what will remain is 1. So I get k plus r minus 1 plus 1. So this minus 1 and this plus 1 will cancel. So what will remain here now is just k plus r. So k plus r will be multiplied with k plus r. So we get k plus r whole square minus n square here now inside this parenthesis. So after all the simplification, your equation will take this form, that is summation r from 0 to infinity ar into x power k plus r into k plus r whole square minus n square, and this term is continued as it is summation r from 0 to infinity ar into x power k plus r plus 2 equal to 0. So in case of Frobenius method, once you reach this step, the next thing which we do is we try to get, or we try to equate the coefficient of the lowest degree term in x to 0. So what we have to do here is we have to first of all identify which term has the least degree term in x. If you see the first term here, you have x power k plus r, and in the second term you have x power k plus r plus 2. So the least degree term out of these two terms is x power k plus r. So equate the coefficient of the lowest degree term in x, that is x power k, to 0. It is x power k here because when you put r equal to 0, this x power k plus r becomes x power k. So now we have to equate the coefficient of x power k to 0. So when you do that, you are putting the value of r as 0. So coefficient of x power k will be a naught into k plus r is 0 now. So k plus 0 whole square, which is k square minus n square. So if you are equating the coefficient of x power k to 0, it is same as equating this term to 0, that is a naught into k square minus n square equal to 0. Now in case of Frobenius method, what we have noted earlier here is the value of a naught should not be equal to 0. If the value of a naught should not be equal to 0, then how do we make this equation 0? Then the value of k square minus n square should be equal to 0. So if you take the value of k square minus n square equal to 0, that implies the value of k is equal to plus or minus n. If you remember, in case of Frobenius method, once you reach this step, this particular equation, that is k square minus n square equal to 0, is also called as indicial equation, and these are the roots of k. So one root of k is plus n and the other root of k is minus n. Also, we need to independently equate the coefficient of x power k plus 1 to 0. This is done so that we can get the next coefficient, that is a1. So to get the value of a1, we again go back to this equation. We find which is the next least degree term in x, which is x power k plus 1. So coefficient of x power k plus 1 will be, you have to take the value of r equal to 1 now. So you get a1 into k plus 1 whole square minus n square. So now you have to equate that particular term to 0. So we have to equate a1 into k plus 1 whole square minus n square equal to 0. Now using this, we should decide how will be the value of a1. Now here the value of a1 should be equal to 0. Can you tell me why? Because if you take the value of this particular term as 0, that is, if you say that the value of k plus 1 whole square minus n square is equal to 0, that will imply that the value of k plus 1 whole square is equal to n square. But this can't be true, because we have already assumed here, that is, while taking the value of a naught, we have already assumed that the value of k square minus n square is equal to 0. So if you make this assumption here, it will contradict the previous assumption. So here the value of k plus 1 whole square minus n square cannot be equal to 0. Therefore, that will imply that the value of a1 has to be equal to 0. So please note this step. Here the value of a1 should be equal to 0, because this particular term cannot be equal to 0, because if you take that this particular term is equal to 0, it will contradict our previous assumption here. Now after getting the values of a0 and a1, we have to find the values of the remaining terms, that is a2, a3, a4, etc. So to do that, in case of Frobenius method, what we do is we try to equate the coefficient of x power k plus r to 0, and we try to get a recurrence relation so that we can calculate the values of all these remaining terms. So how to get the coefficient of x power k plus r? Take this particular equation. What is the coefficient of x power k plus r from this equation? In the first term, you can directly get the coefficient of x power k plus r, that will be ar into k plus r whole square minus n square. But whereas in the second term, here what I have is x power k plus r plus 2. But if you want to get the coefficient of x power k plus r, then this plus 2 here is an extra term. So for which value of r I will be getting x power k plus r here? That value of r is r minus 2, because when you replace the value of r here by r minus 2, I get x power k plus r minus 2 plus 2. So minus 2 and plus 2 will cancel, and I get x power k plus r. So if you are changing every r by r minus 2, here it will be ar minus 2. So what is the coefficient of x power k plus r for this particular term? It will be ar minus 2. So if you take all the terms together, the coefficient of x power k plus r will be ar into k plus r whole square minus n square plus ar minus 2 equal to 0. This is obtained by taking the first term, and by replacing r by r minus 2, you get the coefficient of x power k plus r from the second term. Now this is a recurrence relation, and using this recurrence relation, you have to find the values of all these required terms. So what will be ar from this equation? Ar will be equal to minus of ar minus 2 divided by k plus r whole square minus n square, where the value of r should be greater than or equal to 2, because you have already dealt with a0 and a1, so we have to take the remaining cases. So r is greater than or equal to 2. Now here, when you have solved this initial equation over here, you got two different values for k, that is k is equal to plus or minus n. So by taking one value in that, that is k is equal to plus n, we continue the next case. So here when you take k is equal to plus n, what will be ar? The numerator will not change, but in the denominator you will be getting n plus r whole square minus n square. So if you solve this here, I get n square plus 2nr plus r square minus this term, which is n square. So n square and n square will cancel. So I get the value of ar as minus a r minus 2 divided by 2nr plus r square. So please note, once you get this value of AR here, the next thing which we have to do is take one value of K. I have taken K is equal to plus N. So after getting this recurrence relation now, let's calculate the values of remaining terms, that is A2, A3, A4, etc. To get the value of A2, put the value of R equal to 2. Please note the value of R has to be greater than or equal to 2. So A2 will be equal to minus A of 2 minus 2. So it is A naught divided by 2n into R is 2. So you get 4n plus 2 square, which is 4. So you can see that the value of A2 is expressed in terms of A naught. So A2 is equal to minus A naught. Taking 4 out here, I get 4 into n plus 1. Now let's take the value of R equal to 3. So if you put the value of R equal to 3, you get A3 equal to minus A1 divided by n plus 3 whole square minus n square. But here, since you get A1 in the numerator, we already know what is the value of A1. The value of A1 is 0. If the value of A1 is 0, the value of A3 has to be equal to 0. Now, if the value of A3 is equal to 0, the next term which you calculate will be A5. If you find A5, the value of A5 will depend on the value of A3, but A3 is already 0. So, similarly, you can write A5, A7, all those terms will be equal to 0. Because A1 is 0, since A1 is 0, all these other terms also has to be equal to 0. So now we are done with A2 and A3. Let's check the value of A4. So when you find A4, A4 is equal to minus A2 divided by n plus 4 whole square minus n square. So if you solve it, we get 8n plus 16. Taking 8 out, we get 8 into n plus 2. And in the numerator, I get minus A2. But we already know what is the value of A2. The value of A2 is in terms of minus A naught. So by substituting the value of A2 here, I get the value of A4. A4 will be equal to A naught divided by 32 into n plus 1 into n plus 2. So you can see that the values of A2, A4, and the next term, if we calculate A6, they will all be in terms of A naught. So we have made two observations so far, that is, because of A1, all these terms here will be equal to 0, and the remaining values, that is A2, A4, A6, all those values will be in terms of A naught. So now we substitute all these values in equation 2. So y will be equal to, in equation 2, x power k is a common term. So taking x power k out, we get y equal to x power k into a naught plus a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube plus a4x power 4 and so on. Now, which case are we taking here? We are taking the case where the value of k is equal to plus n. So this term here, x power k becomes x power n. Since we are taking the value of since we are taking the value of k as n here, this solution, which is the solution for y, will be called as y1, because you are taking only one case of k here. So since you are taking only k is equal to plus n, instead of taking the complete solution y, we are taking one independent solution y1. So y1 will be equal to x power n. Now here the next step is substituting the values. A naught doesn't change, a1 is 0, a2 value is calculated and it is in terms of a naught, put that here, x square, a3 is 0, a4 is calculated and it is in terms of a naught, put that here and continue. In the next step, a naught will be a common term inside this summation, so take a naught out. So you get y1 equal to a naught into x power n. Please note this step, since you have taken the value of k is equal to plus n, it's not called as y anymore, it is called as y1. So after taking x power n and a naught out, what will remain inside the parenthesis is 1 minus, here x square is there, this 4 you can call it as 2 square into n plus 1. Then you have x power 4, 32 is equal to 2 power 5, n plus 1 into n plus 2, and so on. Now this is one independent solution for Bessel's equation. So we will call this as equation number 3. Now in the beginning, as we have discussed earlier, there is one more value for k, that is k is equal to minus n. So for k is equal to minus n, let the solution be denoted by y2. You don't have to again calculate the value of y2 here. What we have to do here is take this solution of y1 and replace every value of or every term containing n by minus n. So y2 solution is equal to a naught into x power n becomes x power minus n, 1 minus x square by 2 square into minus n plus 1 plus x power 4 divided by 2 power 5 into minus n plus 1 into minus n plus 2, and so on. So now you have two independent solutions, that is one solution is y1, another solution is y2. So combining these two solutions together, we get the complete solution for the Bessel's equation, and it is given by y equal to ay1 plus by2, where a and b are arbitrary constants. Please note this complete solution is also called as general solution. But now here we have constants, that is capital A, capital B, and we have one more arbitrary constant a naught here. So what we do is we try to get one particular solution by taking one standard value for a naught here, and let that standard value for a naught be equal to 1 by 2 power n into gamma of n plus 1. So now by substituting this value of a naught in equation number 3, that is in this particular equation, what will be y1 equal to? Y1 will be equal to x power n divided by 2 power n into gamma of n plus 1 into 1 minus, all these terms will remain as it is here. I am changing only this a naught by this particular value, that is 1 by 2 power n into gamma of n plus 1. So when I do that, I can change y1 by capital Y1, and capital Y1 will be equal to this term. Now x power n divided by 2 power n, combining these two terms together, I get x by 2 whole power n. Then I'll take this gamma of n plus 1 inside the parenthesis, so it becomes 1 by gamma n plus 1. Here I will combine these two terms, x square by 2 square can be written as x by 2 whole square. N plus 1 is multiplied by this gamma n plus 1, so I get gamma n plus 1 into n plus 1, plus here earlier it was x power 4 divided by 2 power 5. I will write it as x power 4 divided by 2 power 4 into 2. So I get x by 2 whole power 4 and this 2, and these two terms are being multiplied with this gamma term. So I get gamma n plus 1 into n plus 1 into n plus 2 minus, and so on. So now we have learned some properties of gamma functions. In that I'll be using one of them to solve this term inside the parenthesis. We have learned that gamma of n is equal to n minus 1 into gamma of n minus 1. So using that property, I can write gamma of n plus 2 equal to n plus 1 into gamma n plus 1. So now here n plus 1 into gamma n plus 1. These two terms together can be replaced by gamma of n plus 2. So the terms will change here. Then gamma of n plus 3 is equal to n plus 2 into gamma n plus 2. But what is gamma n plus 2 from here? Gamma n plus 2 is n plus 1 into gamma n plus 1. Put that here. So gamma n plus 3, using that I can replace these three terms here. So gamma n plus 1, n plus 1 and n plus 2. So these three terms will be replaced by using the value of gamma n plus 3. So what will be capital Y1 now? Capital Y1 will be equal to x by 2 power n. This will not change. Here it is the same term, x by 2 whole square into, this becomes gamma n plus 2. This will not change. This 2 will remain, and these three terms will be replaced by gamma n plus 3 minus and so on. So now in the next step what we do is we keep this term as it is. We will change the terms and try to get a standard summation over here. So what we do is we write the first term as minus 1 power 0, which is equal to 1. This term we are not changing, gamma n plus 1 as it is. We write 0 factorial, which is equal to 1 into x by 2 power 0, plus the next term is written as minus 1 power 1 gamma n plus 2 into 1 factorial into x by 2 whole square, plus the third term will be minus 1 whole square divided by gamma n plus 3. This 2 can be written as 2 factorial x by 2 power 4. So if you continue, what should be the next term? The next term has to be minus 1 to the power 3 divided by gamma of n plus 4 into 3 factorial, which is multiplied with x by 2 power 6, or you can say 2 into 3 and so on. So if you continue like that, these terms here can be written in terms of a standard summation. So this x by 2 power n remains as it is, and the terms here will be called as summation r from 0 to infinity minus 1 to the power r divided by gamma of n plus r plus 1 into r factorial into x by 2 power 2r. You can verify your answer. These summations will be called as summation r from 0 to infinity minus 1 power r divided by gamma of n plus r plus 1 into r factorial into x by 2 power 2r. So now in the next step what I will do is I will take this x by 2 whole power n inside this summation. So I get capital Y1 equal to summation r from 0 to infinity minus 1 to the power r into x by 2 power n plus 2r into 1 by gamma of n plus r plus 1 into r factorial. Now this RHS here is called as Bessel function of first kind of order n. So this function is called as a Bessel function of the first kind of order n, and it is denoted by Jn of x. So Jn of x is equal to summation r from 0 to infinity minus 1 power r x by 2 power n plus 2r into 1 by gamma of n plus r plus 1 into r factorial. So now please note we have taken only one case here so far, that is capital Y1, that is by taking the value of k is equal to plus n. Now here we can consider one more case also, that is further the solution for k is equal to minus n, that is by considering the value of Y2. If you calculate that, it will be denoted by j minus n of x. So how do you get the general solution now? The general solution is obtained by combining the solution of Y1 with the solution of Y2. So the general solution for Bessel's equation is given by y is equal to a into jn of x plus b into j minus n of x, where a and b are arbitrary constants and n is not an integer.